Good morning, grade 4s, and welcome to WorksheetCloud.com's online lessons. I must say that I'm sure that there are some of you that come from all over South Africa, and I'm sure that you are enjoying these lessons that the different teachers are providing for you on a daily basis, well, every second day or so. Why I'm introducing the lesson over here is because I'm thinking that because we come from different places or areas, I'm sure the weather is different at those different areas. And here in Cape Town, it's pretty chilly. So for those of you that don't know where I come from Cape Town. You know, the one with the beautiful mountain that's shaped like a table. Okay, so grade 4s, if you are also in Cape Town, I am hoping that you are keeping nice and warm. Right, so if you have any questions about this lesson or any of my other lessons, grade 4s, please send an email to grade4@worksheetcloud.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can after this lesson. For this lesson, we are also going to be doing something more practical, so I would hope that you have a pencil or a pen with you and a page, okay, so that you can write some things down and we can get really practical and interactive during this lesson. Today's lesson is language in context, and let me just go back. It's language in context, and we're going to be looking at the greedy dog. We have covered the greedy dog in our reading and viewing section, so in this lesson, we are going to be using that same text and we are going to use our language skills that we've learned over the last few weeks. And our quote for today. To get ahead is to get started. Okay, so that quote is taken from Mark Twain. Grade 4s, all the other quotes that you've seen so far, it comes from me. So that's why I don't write down who is saying it, because I've made those quotes up myself. But this is a nice lesson for you. So if you ever quote from someone, you think, oh wow, this person, it really made sense and I love this quote, please remember to please reference those people because it's their words. So whenever you're using other people's words, please make sure to reference them. So to get ahead is to get started. Think about that for a few seconds, grade 4s. What could that possibly mean? Let's take an example. Let's say I really want to go to the shop. Now, if I was sitting on this couch always thinking about going to the shop, do you think I'd ever get to the shop, grade 4s? I don't think so. I would actually have to get up, put on my shoes, and go to the shop. So the point of this quote is to go anywhere, to get anywhere, anything that you want to do, you actually have to get started at doing it. You want to pass grade 4 well? You want to pass any grade well? What you have to do? Get started. Start studying. It's not going to only happen when the exams come. It's not going to only happen when you are in matric. So start now. Start today. I hope that made sense. The lesson outline for today. Let's figure it out. That's our activity. We're going to recap on antonyms, synonyms, adverbs, and prepositions. We're going to revise the importance of practice and using our language in context. So not just using it by teaching you different things and then only practicing on that, we're going to actually use it in a context. Let's figure it out. By now, grade 4s, you know that this activity requires us to use some of our creativity skills, okay? So Kyle lifted the rock. Plain, simple sentence. Straightforward. Please add some adjectives, add some figures of speech to make the sentence a little bit more interesting. You have a few seconds. Good luck. So Kyle lifted the rock. One of the fun ways to actually change up a sentence is to add an adjective on in front of Kyle. You can add an adjective in front of the word rock, which is a describing word, and we can use an adverb, which tells us more about the verb. So let's see what I did to spice up my sentence, okay? Kind Kyle steadily lifted the heavy rock. So I used my figures of speech, and I'm going to take out my pen so that we can just look at this quickly. So, kind Kyle. Oh, terrible grade boys. Kind Kyle. Right? That's a K and a K, which is consonant letters, and that is alliteration. I'm sure you got that. Steadily lifted the heavy rock. Steadily is a describing word, but it describes the verb, and we call that an adverb. Lifted the heavy rock. So I'm describing the rock, and that is known as an adjective. So I've added in two adjectives and an adverb, okay? And my one adjective is actually an example of alliteration. I really want you guys to try this grade 4. It can be quite fun, and I'm sure that your sentences also look as fun and creative as mine. So, my first thing is, what are antonyms and synonyms? This is a recap session, grade 4s, over some of the work that I've already covered with you. So, antonyms and synonyms. Antonyms are words that mean the same as. No, antonyms are not those words that mean the same as. Antonyms are words that mean the opposite of each other. So, big, small, open, closed. Okay, those are words that mean the opposite of each other, and those are called antonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same or have similar meaning to each other. So, small and tiny, big and huge. Those words have similar meanings to each other, and therefore they are called synonyms. What are adverbs? Now, in its word, adverbs, it does add to a verb. So it tells us more about the verb in a sentence, or we can even say that it describes the verb in a sentence. So it tells us more about verbs. And there are 5 types of adverbs. The 5 types of adverbs are adverb of manner, time, adverb of place, adverb of frequency, and adverb of degree. Those 5 different types of adverbs answer certain questions like where, how, when, okay, how often, to what degree. And those words, when we ask ourselves those questions and we get an answer, usually it would tell us which kind of adverb it is. What are prepositions? Prepositions are words that show where one thing is in relation to another. I'm going to the shop. The word to is my preposition. I am swimming in the water. In is a preposition. It's telling me where I am in relation to the water. Okay? And prepositions can often get confused with adverbs, okay, as well. Because adverbs can also tell us a bit more about the verb, okay? It can get a little bit confusing. But we're going to go through this grade 4, and I hope that the more we practice, the easier it will get. And here we have it. Now, some of you are watching this going, must, we've done this already. But we can never do it enough, because the importance of practice is very, very important. So we need to practice what we learn in order to get better at it. Sometimes we forget, and we need to remind ourselves. And practice makes perfect. And it does not matter how many times I repeat myself. Remember, the more you practice, the better you're going to get at something. So if you give up before the time, you're never going to know that you can get better at it. Remember that, girl? So I'm putting up the context now, and I am going to move out of your way so we can read this together. So this is a context. The context is on the greedy dog, which we've already read together in our reading and viewing lesson. But this is not a reading and viewing lesson. This is a language lesson, but we are doing it in context. So one day a greedy, vicious dog was roaming the streets when he smelled a delicious odor. The hungry dog followed the scent to a young puppy carrying a meaty bone in his mouth. The vicious dog bared its teeth and snarled at the puppy. The puppy got such a fright that he dropped the bone and scampered away. The greedy dog thought, "This looks delicious." He was about to devour the bone when he became afraid that a larger dog might be attracted to the tempting smell. Instead of eating the bone, he quickly ran away. As he ran, he came to a bridge with a brook running below. Upon looking down, he saw a dog with a meaty bone in his mouth looking up at him. "What a puny-looking dog! I can scare him easily and take his bone as well," he said to himself. He began barking loudly at the dog below. The bone he had held in his mouth dropped in the brook with a splash. The dog trudged back home, feeling very hungry. So that is the context. Here are our questions. So the questions are very different to the ones that we had with reading and viewing, because the questions are based on our language activities. So an antonym for the word generous, a synonym for the word nasty, a word that means the same as smell, carrying a meaty bone in his mouth. In is a word that means the same as eating hungrily. Quickly is a, easily is a, and walked means the same as. So most of these questions are actually based on synonyms and antonyms, yes, but also the other two adverbs and prepositions that we also recapped in the beginning of this lesson. So I'm going to leave this on for a few seconds, and you're going to take that pencil or pen and page that you've gotten in the beginning of the lesson and quickly write down the answers. Good luck, grade 4. Okay, so let's look at our text again and see if we can come up with the answers. So I'm putting them side by side, grade 4s, to make it a little bit easier, and I obviously need to move away again. Yeah, so let me move here for now, and then I'll move back up again when we get to the last few questions. So, antonym for the word generous. The word antonym is the opposite of. So if I'm generous, that means that I'm giving, okay? I want to give people, I want to share. So the opposite of the word generous in this text would obviously be greedy. Grade 4. It's because that means I don't want to share, I want it all to myself, okay? Then a synonym for the word nasty. Synonym is a word that means the same as. So that means there's a word in here that means the same as nasty. Let's see. One day a greedy, vicious dog was roaming the streets when he smelled a delicious odor. So the word that means the same as nasty is the word vicious. I hope you got that, grade 4s. The word vicious means nasty. It means you are mean, okay? So that is a synonym for the word nasty, and a very good word for your vocabulary. A word that means the same as smell. So it's a synonym, okay? So let's see. When he smelled a delicious odor. So odor is a smell. It's a fragrance, okay? So this word odor is the word I'm looking for. That means the same as the word smell, okay? Then, carrying a meaty bone in his mouth. In is a. Now, you guys should be used to the parts of speech by now. Grade 4 is where we play that sentence a day game, where we break up our sentences into its parts of speech. Carrying a meaty bone in his mouth tells us where the bone is in relation to his mouth. And because we are doing that, we can tell that the word in would therefore be a preposition. A word that means the same as eating hungrily. So that means eating quickly and fast, and you can see that the person's hungry and just wants to put everything in their mouths. Okay, so that's what's telling me. So what word could mean the same as that? Let's go on. The vicious dog bared its teeth and snarled at the puppy. The puppy got such a fright that he dropped the bone and scampered away. The greedy dog thought, "This looks delicious." He was about to devour the bone when he became afraid that a larger dog might be attracted to the tempting smell. Devour is the word we are looking for. Quickly is a. Quickly is over here. And let's see it in context. Instead of eating the bone, he quickly ran away. Quickly is telling me more about the verb ran. So therefore, it's an adverb. How did he run? Quickly. And therefore, it's an adverb of manner. Easily is a. Easily, let's find the word easily. Here we have it. I can scare him easily and take his bone as well. So easily is referring to the verb scare. Okay, grade 4s. And therefore, it is describing or telling us more about the verb. Therefore, it is an adverb. And as we're getting to the last question, I need to move out of your way. So, walked means the same as, so we are again using a synonym, and the word I am looking for is trudged back home. Obviously, it's a type of walk. It's not just any walk. He trudged back home means that he was heavily upset as he trudged or walked back home. And there we have our answers. Luckily for you, I've actually typed out the answers and put them on the screen on the next slide. And the answers are greedy, vicious, odor, preposition, devour, adverb of manner, and trudged. So we now used all the language that we've learned over the last few weeks in the context of the greedy dog. And that's why I like doing this, grade 4s, because it helps you see that you're not always going to get questions just out of in abstract. Okay, here's a language question. You'll have a comprehension, and sometimes they're also going to ask you language questions in that comprehension. So I hope that makes sense to you as to why I would have a separate lesson on language in context rather than having one with comprehension. It's important for you to see how we can use language in context. And here we have it. Grade 4s, thank you very much for this lovely lesson. I hope that you wrote some things down and that you were practical in this lesson and that you understood how we can recap our language and use them within a context. Okay, if you have any questions about this lesson or any of my other lessons, please send an email to grade4@worksheetcloud.com. An activity is provided for you after this lesson. And grade 4s, from me, I hope that you enjoyed this lesson very well. So, as you enjoy the rest of your day, take note that you need to use your imagination. Okay, use your imagination, be creative, and let's move forward in knowing that. So, from me, Mrs. Nicole Frank, bye.